Available in a video retailer in your area, WrestleMania, the World Wrestling Federation Home Video Series, presents a 2-hour cassette of the greatest professional wrestling event of all time. Every match shown in its entirety with Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Bundy, Beefcake, Andre, Stud, Sheik and Volkov, Wendy Richter, Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali, and more. The wrestling extravaganza seen by more than 1 million people in 20 countries can be yours to keep. Call your video retailer and reserve your copy now.
I wanted to make it clear before we start, right? So that the listener knows we're not going to bitch about Mania.
Yeah. No, because it's just like, I'm nervous. Like, I'm legitimately nervous to watch it.
Right.
Like, I just like, and that's because I care. And that's because you care, right? Because we're fans. We don't want anything to fail.
What is making you nervous?
What's making me nervous? Well, first of all, the jump to Peacock has been.
That's one thing.
Yeah, because they didn't move my account automatically.
Right.
So I signed up myself.
Right.
Which is fine. There's with any technology sign up, there were some hurdles. Like if you already had an account, like how do you figure it out? But they had the fan base pretty well trained that this is where you go.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of time building up that subscriber base.
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort into it.
So just to like disable your account without just say, hey, look, we're going to migrate these accounts for you.
Yeah.
And just like you have to go back in. And the first time you log in, it may ask for your payment information because that we can't migrate.
Right.
Something, putting my tech hat on.
Anytime you're asking someone to re-input their payment information, that's a big hurdle.
Yeah.
You're asking someone to do that. That's, I don't know. People might put it off. People might not want to do it till the day of. And then what happens? They can't figure it out that day, or it crashes, or something's
Tech support's going to
wrong.
be slammed.
Yeah. So it's a big risk to do that weeks before your biggest event of the year.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, no number.
Yeah. WrestleMania, no number. The 2021 version. We don't know what the number is.
Right. It's like a reboot of WrestleMania, like when they reboot old movies and they just give them the same title.
Yeah. Man, I think maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know. But it's scary. Yeah, that's making me nervous. I went into Peacock. What they didn't tell you about like what you're paying is there's commercials that's embedded are in a lot of their content now.
That's 2.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2. Now you're getting ads. You're paying, I guess, half price?
Yeah.
Half price, but you're getting ads. I guess if you pay...
You pay more to get no ads.
You get no ads.
Yeah.
So do the live events going to have ads?
That's going to be the question because this will be our first live event.
Picture-in-picture ads.
Yeah. Is that what they're going for?
If they surprise you with that on Mania, people could be unhappy.
Yeah, it's scary. So on top of that, the experience is already going to be a little bit rocky from past. And this is coming from, my WrestleMania 3 experience was in the Nassau Coliseum, sitting there watching it on a giant screen above the hockey rink.
The original pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like not even from home. You had to go where I used to go see all the house shows.
Right.
That's where I went to see the paper. I bought a ticket like it was going to be a live event, and we just watched it on the big screen.
Well, I remember they used to have it at the movie theater.
Yeah, that was another one,
Go
right?
to the movie theater, buy a ticket, buy a seat.
Yeah. So, which was fine. I mean, we got away from that, and then everyone got trained for the pay-per-view, and then that was fine. Obviously you paid a premium, but anyway, even beyond that, beyond just the intake of the experience, the card so far reads like a Raw. And I know we've talked about this in the past of just like they've gotten away from the house show model of just like we give you on TV as a teaser and you go to the house show or the pay-per-view to get the payoff. And when that went away and there was no enhancement talent and everybody was always working everyone, the cards start to what's going to feel special, right? It was just like the name means something, so something special has to happen. It's WrestleMania, but we know the Royal Rumble is going to be special because there's no Royal Rumbles, Elimination Chamber, Extreme Rules, even those types of gimmick matches. Okay, I'm getting something special for this.
Yeah.
But if it's just going to be, now it's going to be streaming on Peacock, what's going to be the difference between WrestleMania and Raw?
Well, Let's see. I bet they're going to lean hard on celebrity appearances.
Yeah, and which they've always done, right?
Right. They've always done that, but maybe more than usual.
Right. So far though, all we have is Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny so far.
I guess you can't have celebrities in the crowd this time, so that's...
It's going to be interesting, right?
Yeah, that is going to be something.
They got rid of, like, they used to have obviously the enforcer referee role or the special guest ring announcer, special guest timekeeper. That was always the gimmick. Special guest, the Bob Uecker, right? He kind of became synonymous with being like at WrestleMania as the special announcer or play-by-play. So I feel like they could have done that. I know they've been toying with like social media ambassadors, right? The celebrities as the social media ambassadors, but that doesn't still feel the same. But again, there's if it's just Bad Bunny, who by the way is doing great. I mean, I'll give him his props.
Yeah,
he's doing really well. Like he's bumping, he's selling, he's throwing punches, and I think him and the Miz are going to have a really good match. I think they should have went for the tag team, Miz and Morrison versus Damian Priest, which is their guy that came up from NXT and Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
That would have kind of gave them the rub, and that would have put less weight on Bad Bunny to be in the ring the entire time.
Yeah.
And that may, when you tag in, it means something special, which John Morrison actually has experience with it, right? Because a few WrestleManias back, we had Snooki from...
Did he wrestle with Snooki?
Yeah, Snooki was in on a tag team match that he was in, and she did great, but she didn't have to carry an entire match. No, get me wrong, Miz is awesome. Miz probably is the guy that's going to be able to carry someone through a match by himself, but it's a lot of pressure for Bad Bunny.
Miz gets Employee of the Month.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's just like, and he's kind of turned this into his character, right? It's just like he gets heat, He's like, but he's never hurt, and he's been there for so long, and he's always in the conversation. And why it works is what we talked about before, because what you see on TV is pretty much how Miz is.
Yeah.
And that's why it works, because he believes he is the most must-see performer on there, and he always goes in with that attitude, and it shows. And that's why he's always entertaining, because remember, in the beginning, right, he was ostracized.
Yeah.
And the rumor was Chris Benoit made him like dress like in a broom closet or outside the main dressing room, right? Because he wasn't worthy of sharing a locker room.
Yeah.
And look at all these years later, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Did he go straight into WWE? Right? He didn't have an indie career, huh?
No, he did. Well, he was on the Real World, but I guess in a real way, that was his indie career, because when he was on there,
I mean, he cut promos
he was
on there for
cutting promos, and he's wanting to, his MTV was his stuff.
Yeah.
But he did come in there and he took his bumps, right? They pretty much, that was back when Tough Enough, that season, when they were basically just trying to run people away in front of the camera. So he hung in there. So I got to give him the props. I mean, he never went anywhere. So that's why him and Daniel Bryan's rivalry, which I think is a shoot, worked so well, because it's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
In real life, Daniel did come up in the Indies, trained right here in Texas, right in San Antonio, right?
Did he?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. He trained with at Shawn Michaels School.
Wow.
RBG was the trainer there. Wayne, my old wrestling partner, actually had a lot of his matches they did, and that they still use on some of his Raw stuff. Like anytime they show Daniel's early career, you can see,
he's got the clips.
So every once in a while, Wayne gets like, "Hey, I saw you on Raw last night." But but he came up in the Indies. He came up the hard way, so they had that natural rivalry that just worked.
Right.
So, but going into Mania, we won't even start. Here's who I think is hot right now that could save this show.
All right.
Right. I think Daniel Bryan, right? Because it's just like, I think even when he went heel and then he turned back, baby, that yes movement is still kind of there. And it feels real when he said, this could be my last WrestleMania. Stop forgetting about me. And he already has that underdog feel. He could save it. Sami Zayn is doing great work as just like the paranoid guy that just like the business is trying to screw him, and which again, it probably is because it's a little bit close to reality, because they've always been kind of like poo-pooed him in a sense, even though he was super over.
Vince is like, remember that time we screwed you over?
Yeah.
Let's use that.
Yeah. Well, I was reading an interview with him, and he's just like, he's getting more creative freedom because he's being a pain in the ass. And he said that's why it's working. And we talked about this on our last show. You have to be somewhat of a pain in the ass and not just do what the company tells you to do. And he's getting a lot more stuff through. And that's why it's working, because he's getting it through. It's his idea because it's really him. Yeah. Right. So he could do something, and he's working Kevin Owens, who always does great work. So having them work each other, even though that's a repeat WrestleMania match, it has potential. That, again, because I want to feel real. I want to suspend my belief, and I think they can do that. Roman Reigns, obviously, we talked about this, doing the best work he's ever done as a heel. Yep. Just like having him as, Big Chief, head of the table, it's doing great. Right. So having that, putting Daniel Bryan in the mix, and having Edge having his comeback story, has 3 guys in there that are all invested. That feels real. So that feels like the main event to me.
So you were telling me last time, though, that you had a theory about why the main event changed.
What, with Vince?
Yeah.
Yeah, not liking it, which, yeah. And he's wrong a lot. That's one thing that a lot of people won't say about Vince. He's wrong a lot. He's right a lot, but he's also wrong a lot, right? He's the Babe Ruth, where he hits a lot of dingers, but he has a lot of whiffs. Yeah. But his dingers are so good, you don't really talk about the whiffs. And obviously, he's had a lot of whiffs.
Yeah.
So I think he was right in this case, that it's just like we weren't sure if this was enough. And I don't know if it's because Edge was out for a while, because obviously Edge is a main eventer, Roman's a main eventer. What was missing? So
another main eventer.
Yeah, and they put it in there. Now I feel like they actually teased an idea where it's just like, I want to fight the winner of night 1 on night 2. And I was just like, okay, that's a little intriguing, because now you're connected all weekend over one match.
Yeah.
I mean, well, one version of a match in 2 parts. So I feel like that could have connected really well. But for whatever reason, they did not go in that direction. But they teased it, so somebody thought of it, and they're like, nah, we're just going to go with the 3-way dance.
Nah, we'll do my idea.
Yeah. Because I'm a little concerned with the other main event, with the other championship, which there shouldn't be 2, but there is 2. It is what it is.
But there's 2 nights now.
Yeah, but there's 2 nights. But I'm worried about the Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, because I wasn't a big Bobby Lashley guy. But then they brought in MVP, and then they gave him the Hurt Business, and then I'm like, oh, okay, these are guys that, custom suits. I was like, this is and anytime you get a good faction of people who just gel together.
Factions are important.
Yeah.
You don't realize the importance of factions till you see, because AEW does it so well.
Yeah, they
and
do.
They've got everybody in teams. And you were right. It's a logical decision to make factions, because you're going to hang out with your buddies. That's just how it's going to go, right?
Right. You're going to be like the Horsemen.
Whether it's, you're really buddies or you're not. In kayfabe, you're going to hang out with your buddies,
right?
And you're going to be in groups, and it strengthens the individual within the group. You're part of this. You got an identity instantly.
Oh yeah,
you're not just free floating in space amongst a giant pool of talent,
right?
Right, and you're just, you're this amazing performer, but at the same time, you're nobody. You're one ball in the pit.
Yeah, especially when they have. Again, we talked about this before. They have the most talent they've ever had in the history of the company. Like talented wrestlers.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, they're uber athletes. Bobby Lashley is an uber athlete. I mean, he's an MMA fighter. I mean, he's legitimate. They put MVP, who came, who's great on the stick. He's great on the stick. So when he put it together and just like, this is the Hurt Business and business is good, I was like, wow, okay, we're in. It's just like, this works. They were getting, then they had the titles. They had the tag titles. Like, they're going to get all the gold. I mean, the 4 horseman formula works, and they had it. And it was just like, cool. Okay, well, that would have been more interesting to see. Just like, now Drew's like, oh crap. Now, am I really going to be fighting just Bobby Lashley, or have to worry about the Hurt Business? Do I need to get a gang of my own, right? Do I need my friends? And he had his angle with Sheamus, and they just they fought even though they were friends for a long time. And this would have been great. Like, hey, I know we had our differences, but I need you to have my back. Right there, it's just like, we have real stakes. I was like, okay, this is picking up. But instead, they just had a weird, Shelton wants the belt. Maybe one of us should have the belt, just like everybody all of a sudden got greedy. And then it just like, boom. And then just like that, Hurt Business 2 weeks before Mania are broke up.
So why do that?
I don't know.
Why book that?
Yeah, why?
Why? What for?
Yeah, I don't know what the value is, because I don't even know if Cedric and Shelton have a match at WrestleMania. It makes no sense, right? It's just like, because they were a part of WrestleMania if they were coming out as the Hurt Business. Even if they didn't have a match, they were going to be out there, It's just like, that was a mistake.
I mean, they are booking these matches really late in the game here. Everything is very late in the game. So I wonder if that's that's just a big swing to try and set up a really fast angle, okay? Now they're broken up. Maybe they can come back. You know what I mean? They can have a WrestleMania reunion in 2 weeks.
Oh, well, I could tell you, and I know we're going to try not to bitch, but like you said, it was a big swing, and that's a swing and a miss. It's a swing and a miss, because it's just like you just put some really talented guys who can actually be outside and make it feel big match feel, right? Everyone has entourages now, we'll bring up Cody's the one that really kind of embraced it, but entourages, UFC, they come with their entourage. Boxers always came with their entourage. That's why factions work. I mean, they work outside of, people still hold up the 4 horseman fingers. People still do the 2 sweet symbol. It just works. So I don't know why they decided to do that. So that being one of their main events on one of their belts, which is the WWE Championship, not the Universal. So this is the belt with the lineage. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's going to be another rematch. And Drew's he's already lost this to Randy Orton and then won it back. So this is him going for another run at the belt, just kind of by himself. And he's a great athlete. I just like, it would have been better if there was a little bit more pomp and circumstance around this, since it's WrestleMania, because why wouldn't that be a Monday Night Raw rematch? So I'm nervous about that one. Sasha and Bianca, I'm not really nervous about that one. Those 2 girls are great.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's going to be the match of the
they're
show.
Probably going to steal the show.
Yeah.
And it's just like 2, again, great athletes, and everything they're going to do. Sasha can do no wrong. She just goes out there and it works. This wasn't her fault, but it was weird how they kind of just like decided who's going to be the heel, and where they just had that tag match, and then they just decided, since you lost, now you suck, and then let's gonna fight, instead of just doing like these girls are just like, she's the boss and Bianca's, the EST. Like, have a game of one-upsmanship, but still like a friendly rivalry.
Right.
WrestleMania 6 worked, right? They had the Ultimate Challenge. I don't think they needed to do that. It was completely unnecessary. They could have just been one-upping each other every week and say, we'll see at WrestleMania. Yeah. So you didn't need a heel. So I don't know why they did that. But it doesn't matter, because they're going to be fine. Another one is Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the angle right now?
I don't know.
They're just fighting?
Yeah.
Hey, you and me, we're in a fight.
I don't know what led up to it. I know there's Cesaro's been swinging him. I guess Vince unbanned the swing. So he's just trying to see how many times he can swing him. Yeah. They're trying to give Cesaro the rub that he rightfully deserves. Yeah. And look, this should have been it. This is WrestleMania worthy if you're counting work rate, because they're going to steal the show work rate wise. Yeah. They're going to be great. They actually did a Nakamura versus Seth Rollins, and I'm like, that feels like a special match that they just kind of threw on SmackDown. And that's my concern. What's the difference between Raw and WrestleMania? What's the difference between SmackDown and WrestleMania when you have Nakamura versus Seth Rollins and then Cesaro versus Seth Rollins? It almost sounds interchangeable. Yeah. Even though those guys are, again, all great talents. But what are they supposed to do?
The stakes are not there. The stakes have not been set. And that's the main problem going on with WWE, which we're definitely not bitching about.
No, we're not.
But the guys got the talent. The guys can do the work. But what's the story? Yeah. Give us something. And the same thing with like going back to Sasha and Bianca
Bianca.
Belair. We all kind of knew that was where it was headed eventually. I
Yeah.
feel like a while ago we knew that was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
That was going to be a Mania match. Yeah. So yeah, why? Well, don't talk down to us.
Yeah. No, it does feel like that.
It's just like you don't have to make it so simple. You can make it complicated. You can do something different. Yeah, two friends, a two-friend rivalry. Why not? That'd be good.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like the best. All right, if you want to compare yourself to other episodic television, right? The best shows are the ones that just turn things on their head. Like when you'll have a spoiler alert from Game of Thrones of 10 years ago, but it's just like when you all of a sudden whack the main character, you realize something's different.
All right, I need to adjust my Netflix queue. They were sending me the discs, and I'm going to cancel. No, but I see what you're saying.
Just like make it different.
Because you've done every angle already.
Yeah.
You've got to try different ones. And I think that's one thing AEW succeeds at is they, not to compare the two, they're different products, whatever.
Yeah,
I know.
They're really, yeah.
But, they try different storylines. They try different things. And when they feel the audience biting, they go for it.
Oh, they lean in.
Yeah.
Where when the WWE audience bites, they lean out.
Yeah, and WWE will if the audience is feeling it, it's like no, really, it's like force feeding it to you.
Oh yeah, and then it gets super frustrating to the point where just like they'll have a show like the audience, you're the most important portion of our show, but then they don't listen, they don't take any of the feedback, and they do everything different, and that's why, I mean, the Raw ratings are 1.7 million. They're not that far off from AEW. Like they're breathing down their neck, and that shouldn't not be the case.
AEW is going to probably start getting 1 million a week once the NXT moves to Tuesday.
Yeah. So that should not be the case when you have this much talent. And it's just like there's a weird creative miss, but the problem is making money. So it's just like, how much do you care when you're still bringing in money?
Yep.
And how do you stop that?
You got contracts. You got TV contracts.
Yeah, that are paying that money for that content. So I think that's short term. You got to think long term, or else it's going to come back to get you. What else So we got New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. Okay, yeah. I mean, the gimmick's going to be here is Omos is, what is he, 7'4"?
This is his debut?
Yeah, this is going to be the first time that you actually see him in a match.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Him and AJ as a tag team, I don't know. I can see AJ in a faction, but I've never seen AJ in a tag scenario like this with someone who has a completely different style.
Yeah, and he's a little bit well, I know he works heel sometimes. Is he heel or babyface right now?
He's heel.
Yeah.
Yep,
heel. He's great at both, but either way, he comes off as a loner.
You don't really need him. Like when he had
he's a one-man band.
When he had the Good Brother one-man gang for his billow. That was a shout out to the old the Slammies when Macho Man said, "And the one-man gang for his billows." But yeah, he doesn't. I guess that was just their way of getting Omos in, but he's a huge dude, so it's gonna be. That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
New Days, They'll carry it sometimes they let them carry on too much, but there's nothing wrong with them. They feel special when they come out. They're stars. So we'll see how that goes. And that's all. And then,
that's night one?
One more on night one. And this is the one that's making me nervous.
What if
it's Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman in a steel cage match.
Right.
In a steel cage match.
Okay.
Right, the match that usually is the blow-off match is technically their opening match because the one match last month never happened.
Yeah.
But this one really bothers me.
Yeah.
Just because the whole angle is he wants to fight Shane McMahon because Shane McMahon is like bullying him. Like Shane McMahon's the bully and he just keeps calling him stupid. That is it. That is the only reason why they do it. And Shane got over on him a few times. Like I thought they were going to do a Nickelodeon tie-in because he poured slime on him.
Yeah.
He just slimed him.
He said, "I don't know."
Yeah, he did. You can't do that on television, but you can do it on podcasts. Yeah, but he slimed him, and it's just like Shane is just coming off as the bully.
Yeah,
and it's just like, and you're just fighting him because you're calling him stupid.
Yeah. I'm just not a big fan of Shane booking himself on Mania. And like I said before, not to bitch about it or anything, but this really has
bitching about it.
I'm not bitching about it, but this really has the scent of Shane O'Mac thought of a spot about 3 weeks ago that he wanted to try, and he's been rehearsing it probably.
Oh yeah.
And when he's not rehearsing the spot and training for it, he comes and works on the angle.
Right.
Shows up for that.
Yeah, and I guess he's the part timer, as in the sense that he'll always be around for Mania, even though he's always around. But maybe it's a race to see who comes off. They're back in Ray J Stadium, right? So you got the pirate boat. Who's jumping off the boat first? Kevin Owens or Shane O'Mac?
I feel like it's
someone's jumping off the boat.
I feel someone's jumping. Yeah,
someone's jumping off the boat, and then that's fine. But it's just like, man, I don't know. They dropped the ball on Braun so much that they started finally giving him some momentum, and then they turned him quasi heel for him pushing Alexa to the dark side and then not caring, even though they got us invested that they were friends, and then they just dropped it. So then he just comes back, but now again, they did something very similar with big shows. Like, there's no reason the guys like this need to be their Andre the Giants, their Undertakers. I mean, Braun Strowman, man, he's another. Again, they have no shortage of talent, and what a talented big man he is.
Yep.
So it's just like the Strowman Express. They just dropped it all, and now just throwing him in there and with Shane, because Shane always did get a pop in the live crowd. So, but then they turn him heel, and Shane's going to have a great, and it might be a good match, but it's just like, I don't even want to see it because the setup was so stupid. And I'll use the term stupid because that's what it's all about.
That's what stupid. It's about. That's the whole angle.
It's just like, does that work? Is that really compelling? Is that the personal issues? Is that the grudge that you're just like calling them stupid?
Again, I feel like maybe you're talking down to me, WWE.
Yeah. So it probably is going to be a good match, but I just like, don't even necessarily know I want to see it.
Well, you're gonna.
Yeah, we had no choice. All right, so what do we got on the second match? We already talked about Owens and Sami Zayn. Great. Mr. Conspiracy, what a great gimmick that turned into be, that he's just worried that everyone's trying to screw him, and he's always walking around with a camera and stuff. So his documentary crew. So that's working really well. So
do we ever see any of Sami Zayn's footage? No, right?
He's going to debut a documentary.
He's going to, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so that's why they're screwing him. And
Great.
He's going to have a documentary on why they're screwing him. So
I like that.
Feels real enough to me, so I'm in, because it looks like something that you would see on YouTube.
And it's smart. Still utilize that pre-tape gimmick that sort of spurged up during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Utilize it right now, even though you're still you're trying to do a live event again.
Yeah.
You can use it for stuff. I think it's a great tool to have in the arsenal.
I like it. You got Big E defending the Intercontinental title against Apollo Crews. Big E's got the belt now. Big E's obviously already. Apollo Crews is now a heel.
Right.
He's I don't know what African nation he's like a prince of, that he has an accent now and stuff, but I'm starting to almost wonder if they should have introduced him with that all along. For whatever reason, it just didn't work. But Apollo is the perfect example of what I've been talking about. I feel like you have somebody super talented that doesn't push back when they make him do dumb things, for his character. And this feels like the first time they're actually making his character feel a little bit special.
Yeah.
So TBD on how it works, but I'm all for it. It's just like having that feel right now, just like, because I think it's in the zeitgeist, right, of just these African royalty. You just had the sequel of Coming to America.
Right.
Obviously, we're all very familiar with Black Panther.
Right.
So African royalty.
Apollo Crews didn't have much to do as a babyface.
No.
He's never had. And
no.
It's harder to work babyface, If you don't get over, you're just kind of sitting there, and you're just waiting for them to turn you heel so you can do something else.
Yeah, to do something different.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't working. All this, I don't even remember much of the stuff they did. I think Ricochet's in that same void.
Yeah.
Don't even know where he is right now, right? Yeah. He should have just came in as Prince Puma.
Prince Puma was over.
Yeah, he was over, but now R-Truth calling him Richard. Now that's all I ever do is call him Richard Ricochet, which is telling where people are thinking of. Then you have, I think, on this night, you have one of the best guys they got going in there right now. Riddle, he's got the U.S. belt, and he's fighting Sheamus.
Yeah.
Riddle's Riddle, man. Riddle's works again because he's real.
Yep.
So I was just like, I think it's going to be fine.
So did you see him blow the spot with Oscar backstage?
And it worked, right? It's just like
it got a lot of traction on Twitter. People whether again, it's wrestling, so whether you're dogging it or you're digging it, it's all good.
That's fine, man, because it's just like if he came rolling up like Fast Times and he came out of a van with a bunch of smoke out of it, you would be like, yeah, I expect someone to do it, and then he rolled with it, right?
Dude, tag the WWE writers, please. Give him a Spicoli gimmick.
Yeah, that's right. That's all he needs.
Get him some checkered vans,
Yeah.
Have him like order a pizza in the middle of a spot.
Have him come to the ring in a van and just comes out of the van.
Yeah.
Just right and just falls
just
out.
like tumbles out of the van. Yeah.
Right. I think that would be good. But yeah, so that'll be a good match. Sheamus always finds his way into the main event. Sheamus always fights hard. I would have rather have seen Sheamus somehow involved with Drew, just because they have that history. It's like, I need your friend. I just want to have that realism of just like, you fight with your friends, you make up with your friends kind of thing, but they're going to go with this, and that's fine.
Again, why WWE needs some factions.
Yeah.
So these guys can help each other out.
Yeah, they're struggling. What else we got that's happening that night? Oh, the return of the Fiend against Randy Orton. Yeah, the resurrect. We saw him resurrected, right? He kind of looked like chewed up meatloaf. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't know. I mean, obviously he's one of the hottest characters, and they keep him special by not showing him that much. But I have no idea what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
no clue. Like, how do you like Randy Orton? Pretty much already set him on fire, right? And then we've just been dogging him, and Alexa been going at it for months. Where do you go with this? Like, what are we watching? It's not a Firefly Funhouse match, what they could have done. No, but it should have been.
It's not a pre-tape.
Don't know. They did not say. It should have been. It should have been.
Well, to me, it makes sense that it would. Well, to me, it makes sense that it should be, because that entire storyline is cinematic.
Right.
Okay. And if the blow-off match to that is just a regular match, that's a disappointment.
It's very disappointing. Yeah, and in the past, obviously, Bray had his Firefly Funhouse match last year, which was great. Mm-hmm. What a great pre-tape. I mean, the best two matches of last year's Mania were the two pre-tapes.
Yeah.
Right, the Boneyard match and then the Firefly Funhouse. But then remember, him and Randy Orton had that fight at was it like Sister Abigail's house a long time ago, and then Randy Orton like set it on fire. I mean, they've already had the cinematic match, so just to have them just go in there, I'm sure they're going to do something, but they're not announcing what they're going to do. But for this to make sense, I can't see how Randy Orton comes out the other end of this still intact, since he put Fiend on the shelf for months and months, and then been tormenting Alexa, back and forth. How do you have Randy Orton just beat Fiend coming back?
Right.
I don't know what they do. Where do they go? Like, I almost feel like something has to happen to Randy Orton, and he needs to go away for 6 months to make it feel like something really happened. I may call for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum's creative control. So that's TBD. What else? And then we talked about the triple threat. I think that's going to be great. That's going to have the match of the night on the other end. Because, man, Roman, Daniel, and Edge, those guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're going to work their boots off.
Yeah, I think that should hit the mark.
Yeah, so I don't have any concerns with that. They kind of threw Rhea Ripley in there. She's back. In her debut, she didn't wrestle. She just challenged Asuka.
Yeah. So is Rhea Ripley a heel?
Don't know.
Okay.
She just came out and did the sign point.
Yeah.
Don't know.
It's a little quick.
Yeah, very quick. It's just like, it's so quick that it's just... I don't know what's happening, because
where did the time? Didn't she debut at Rumble?
Well, she had a match last year at WrestleMania against Charlotte.
Right, but we saw her come back on the Rumble, right? That was her big return.
Oh yeah, she was in there.
Yeah, and then was she just on the shelf until now?
Yeah.
So what happened there? Why not?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Did something with Asuka change that they needed to fill a gap?
I mean, unless they were setting up for Charlotte, who's out with COVID.
Oh, were they setting up for Charlotte? Maybe.
Yeah, and she's out with COVID, and also her Andreas has been future endeavored, which obviously is her guy. So maybe they're giving her some time to cool off. Obviously, she's probably not happy with the office right now.
And some phantom pregnancy.
Is it?
Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
That's what Andrade said, that it was a phantom pregnancy, that WWE told her she was pregnant when she wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it made me think of that 30 Rock episode where Liz Lemon eats those Mexican chips and she gets a phantom pregnancy. Anyway, but like, that's maybe I'm hearing that completely wrong, but like, I'm pretty sure I heard about Andrade went on a podcast and said that.
It's very possible. I don't know. And again, this is the stuff that's quote unquote really happening is more intriguing than the stuff that you're trying to stage.
Right.
So we'll see. I expect Asuka to probably drop the belt. That's the only thing that makes sense here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a good match. Here's the thing: is like none of these people that are actually working, or everybody is a great worker. So I'm not concerned about the matches not having high quality. I'm just concerned about there's already 7 hours of this content, and it's just this going to be more of the same show. Am I going to have to watch? Is this Raw? So is Raw on that Monday basically WrestleMania Night 3? Because are the matches going to look any different?
Yeah. Well, you've got to think of it even from the other end of that. You've got 7 hours going into Mania. Mania is going to be what, 8 hours?
Yeah, 4 and 4 probably.
4 and 4, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Pop any pre-show there? You think maybe another hour? Oof. Possibly up somewhere.
NXT has two. Are they having a 2-night takeover too?
I'm not sure. So you're talking about. Oh, that's a lot of viewing, and then you've got Raw on Monday.
Yeah, which used to be the best Raw, right? It's just
right.
The Raw after Mania is just when everybody flew in. And look, some of this is not their fault because they're adjusting to, the pandemic.
Sure.
And they are going to have some fans there. But
yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be somewhat, we'll see. It's going to look different for sure, but I don't know if it's going to feel different. It's not going to get the WrestleMania butterflies like, oh man, it's finally here.
Yeah.
So
it sounds, that's a pretty big arena. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what is it going to be, half capacity?
Yep. Yeah, because it's a stadium, right?
Yeah.
It's Raymond James Stadium. They're
how
where they're supposed to be last year. How is that going to
work? How's that going to work? I don't know. It's weird because it's not seats, right? It's benches probably, no?
Well, just regular football stadiums.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about if they put people on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe it's going to feel like one of those 83 NWA shows where somebody comes in on a helicopter because they have enough room that they're not filling it up.
Yeah. They got that long walk from the back.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I hope they're accounting for that. That's one, I hope that whoever's planning the show, again, I want it to go well, is accounting for these things that have changed,
Yeah.
And that they've understood that just because you have the best cameras and angles and lighting, everything, you can do whatever. You can have a drone in there. You can get the most beautiful shot. You have to take into consideration how things have changed and how things are going to look and sound because of that, you know?
That's a good point.
And if you're seeing these really wide shots of this stadium that's half full, I don't know how impressive that's going to be, Of course, they do have those, now they're doing those shallow depth of field shots where the background's out of focus.
Oh, the Madden shots,
yeah,
everyone's calling.
Yeah, which is okay, which is fine sometimes, but, I don't know. I don't think it's not usable in, a live sports event type of environment.
Yeah. Oh, for live, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hope that that's being taken into account and that they come up with some other creative way to make this seem as impressive as they want it to be.
Yeah. Because Thunderdome looks impressive if you just kind of are glancing at it. If you don't have to, it just doesn't feel it. Even when I want to feel it, it just not just look impressive. It has to feel impressive.
Yeah.
And that's TBD, And then we have our 2 battle royals. Speaking of feeling impressive, and that always feels impressive, right? Because you got a bunch of bodies in the ring of everyone's just like, hey, here's your chance to be at WrestleMania. And I've always been a fan of battle royals.
I'm a fan of battle royals, and I think I like it when they take the opportunity to do things that are a little wacky.
Yeah.
Do things that are different that you wouldn't do in a regular match.
Yeah, and it gives everyone a chance to be at Mania, get in front of that, get that experience out there. That goes all the way back to, Bad News Brown and Bret turning on Bret Hart for that WrestleMania Battle Royal. And then Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 2 Battle Royal where they got the football players involved, right?
Yeah.
William the Refrigerator Perry, was just like it made it feel special. So I'm always a fan of these on the big shows, and I think they should be part of the main cards. I hate when they just like put it, it's like, oh, it's not that important, because it is important. It's a chance for the guys that you don't know what to do with to give them an opportunity. It's a great place to do some experimentation.
Yeah, and it should be, I mean, it should be a fun match. You should always take full advantage of that.
Yeah, and they tried last year with the SNL people, and it's just like, I don't know if it worked, but hey, I didn't fault them for trying, right? When Colin Jost, Michael Shea, and they basically were doing commentary under the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
The ring. But hey, look, it was a Battle Royal. It was a chance to try something different.
Yeah.
But that's
one thing I always think though, when I see battle royals, I think they should always space them out, time them out, some sort of release, timed release of opponents.
Yeah.
I just feel like when they're all in the ring and it just starts, it's so jarring, and you can't focus on anything right off the bat. It takes a while before
to get your bearings. Yeah,
exactly. Like whatever, like do 5 at a time, 10 at a time. I understand it's a time constraint probably. But just something to mix that up a little bit. Just add an angle to the battle royale. That it shouldn't be too hard, I think.
Oh, there should be something you can do.
Yeah,
I agree. Just to make it feel like an experience and not basically, a mouthful of candy and just like you can't even chew. You can't. Do I suck? Do I chew? Do I swallow?
Yeah.
What do I do right now? So I'm drooling.
Right.
So yeah, it is that experience. So now you can see why I'm a little nervous, right? Is there anything? And I left off the Smackdown Tag Team Championships with the Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. They just kind of balled those guys together. I think they're called like Top Dogs, Dirty Dogs, something with dogs. And it was just like, wait, the Show Off and Glorious, where you just didn't let it. You just did it wrong, and now you just kind of balled them together. Again, 2 great athletes against the Street Profits, who also just like those guys are over. I mean, they got the solo cups. I mean, I feel like this is just going to be another one just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it's not affecting anybody because you forgot about it.
Right.
And you have the card in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I scroll, like, oh, I completely missed that one. So, look, I'm still going to pay. It's just like, but for the first time, it was just like, when I paid for my Peacock subscription and I did their deal, it was just like I paid for a couple months in advance, found out the commercial thing, and then I saw, oh, you got to pay more for no commercials. And for the first time after watching this Mania, I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to let it renew when this is done. That's how concerned I am. And it's just like, I'm coming from a fan. So I was in the business, but felt like I was part of the business before it, during it, and after it. WWE's been part of my life, my entire life that I have a memory. I remember wrestling.
Yeah. And
I'm actually thinking about, I was like, oh, maybe I don't watch. That's sad to me. It's just like, and don't tell me I outgrew it. Because it's just like, it was from 8 to 48, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah. No, I mean, there's that says a lot. You know what I mean? That says a lot. So what is Joe Average thinking right now about renewing that Peacock or signing up? Like, how close are they to not doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's at home. Everybody's watching lots of different stuff. If you miss Mania this year, I don't know, you might catch the highlights somewhere. There's other methods to see it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think maybe.
I don't know. Is there pay-per-view?
Don't know. I don't even know if they're doing traditional pay-per-view.
I feel like if pay-per-view is an option, folks might be apt to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're used to it and you're trained for it.
Right.
So, and also, as ridiculous as it sounds, paying the $50-$60 gives it the big show feel.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, it makes it important. It makes it an event. So, do I need to sign up for another subscription? I'll just pay for Mania. I just want to see Mania anyway. Think about it.
That is true. Yeah. Because obviously we all have lots of streaming apps that we're competing with. So now they really are competing with everything. And this is when you need to have that, let's make something feel special. And the way to make it feel special is to make it feel real. Help me suspend my belief.
Yeah.
They're not helping me suspend my belief. Some of the workers are the ones that go rogue, or the ones that work. Man, go rogue. That's what I'm asking any talent that's listening, because they all listen to this show.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
I know they do. They're texting me now.
Yeah.
What? So okay, best case scenario. Tell me what alleviates your fears.
Like before or after the show? Like, can
give me some. Yeah, whatever. What
I don't think they can alleviate my fear before the show, but I would love to be wrong.
Yeah.
I'd love to come out at the other end of this WrestleMania and be wrong, and just like have that WrestleMania feel, like the pomp and circumstance, the grandest stage of them all, right? That's what they call it. I want this to feel like that. And I know it's going to look impressive. That's one thing that they've always done a really good job of is looking impressive.
Yeah.
I want it to feel impressive, not just look impressive. Don't just worry about the looks, worry about the feel. I want some substance to it. So I don't know. I just like splash a little bit of realism in there, because the matches that I'm gravitating to are the ones that you can tell that, the workers are splashing a little bit like of realism in there. That would help me alleviate a little bit, but I don't think they're going to do that yet. They're playing it safe. Peacock is already talking about editing content from past WWE events. So that's pretty concerning there too, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like wrestling has always had that quirkiness to it, and it's just like who's going to decide that? Who's going to be, standards and practices? Maybe Stevie Richards.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the standards and practices that are going to decide? You shouldn't be watching that because you're going to miss a lot of good shit from the past.
And let's face it, there's probably a lot of politically incorrect stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
In the vault. All right?
Oh, yeah.
So
there is. So again, it's just like what Vince always said is like, stop taking it so seriously. We're satire.
Right.
His Super Bowl commercial. Get it? It's just like it's wink, wink. We're working the audience, and it's just like, and sometimes we know when it's gone too far and when it is, but a lot of times it's just like it's not that big of a deal because you just move on because they're producing so much content. They're just like they don't have time for quality control. They just keep moving.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I always think of Glow when they do that KKK gimmick.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, Glow. That would make me feel better. A special appearance by Glow. When is Glow as an organization should just be in the Hall of Fame? The entire organization.
Yeah.
Because obviously that documentary was great. And if I was WWE, I would be kicking someone in the ass for like, why didn't we buy the rights and do that documentary?
Right.
And then it was so popular, then Netflix got a 3-season show.
Turned it into a series, yeah.
Which I think they canceled. But
yeah, they canceled the 4th season.
Yeah, but it's just like, man, I want to see that entire show in the Hall of Fame. Because that was the quirk. They leaned way into the quirkiness. So maybe we should just do a show on Glow.
We can.
Yeah. The gorgeous ladies of wrestling. They're all champions in this ring. They come from the streets. They come from the city. Where there is no pity.